So what if I told you the only thing standing between you and your goals is a perspective shift, and I can walk you through that shift right now? I am going to show you the framework that I use to get myself out of a rut, how to quantum leap, how to actually step into my goals. And if you want more videos like this, make sure that you like and subscribe and comment if this was helpful. That just lets me know that this is more of the content that I should be creating for my community. Okay, so this is a framework that I call the worst case scenario method. Don't run, don't get freaked out. Trust me, it is exactly what you need to hit your goals. Okay, now let's say that you have a goal. Maybe the goal is that you get a new place, or you want a new job, or you want to make a lot of money. We're just going to pick one for now. So right now I'm going to focus on getting a new job. Let's say that's the number one goal in your life. So this technique is going to be grounded in like quantum leaping, manifestation, law of attraction, prayer, all the things, but it's also going to be based in somatic IFS. My therapist is a somatic IFS practitioner, and I learn so much by the way that our sessions are run. So one of the things that always comes up in my therapy sessions with IFS, it is the understanding that you have a bunch of different parts and all of the different parts are speaking. And so what we do in our sessions is, say that I come in really anxious, we spend the session like almost talking to that anxious part of me and getting to know it more. So let's say that I'm really anxious about the fact that I need to get a new job. Something that my therapist would ask me is, the part of you that's really anxious about that, what are they afraid of? Like, what do they think is going to happen? And that is how we treat our goals in general. It doesn't matter if it's money, it doesn't matter if it's a partnership. Whenever we have a goal for something, not only are we reaching for it, we're reaching away from something else. We're afraid of what will happen if we don't get it. That's what makes us obsess over our goals. So what we're going to do is practically unravel that. So let's say that I am anxious about getting a new job. If I ask myself, what would happen if I don't get a new job? I might feel like I will keep being overworked. You may feel like getting a new job will help you to have stability. You may feel like getting a new job, if you don't get that new job, then you will be broke. If you don't get that new job, you will keep being mistreated. Now, in my therapy sessions, a lot of the times when we ask like an anxious part or a really overworked part, like, what do you think will happen if you don't do your job? What do you think will happen if you don't get the new role? What do you think will happen if you don't get that money? We are really catastrophic. So sometimes I'll be like, it's life or death. Like, that part of me feels like getting this new job is life or death. That's important, okay? So the way that the worst case scenario method works is you have to be radically honest. If you are saying that if I don't get this new job, I will be mistreated. If I don't get this new job, I will be broke. If I don't get this new job, I will be overworked. What does that mean? That means that in your present day, because you don't have this new job, this is your reality already. This is already your reality. If you don't have that yet, that means you're already broke. That means you're already being mistreated. That means you're already overworked. Okay? That means this is your current reality. What does that mean? When you are reaching for a goal, sometimes it can feel life or death. Why does it feel life or death? Because that means you're already in your worst case scenario. You're already dealing with all of the things that come with what you think will happen if you don't reach this goal. This is important because once you realize that, once you take a moment to be honest and be like, damn, this is as bad as it gets. What I am afraid of, I'm already experiencing. What that allows you to do is not only take self-accountability, but also it reminds yourself, I'm so obsessed with getting this job because I think it'll prevent me from these things. But I'm already experiencing these things and I'm kind of winning. I'm already figuring out how to not have enough money. I'm already learning how to deal with being mistreated and set boundaries. I'm already making plans out of getting overworked. When you can realign your perspective to the fact that this is as bad as it's going to get, the story I've told myself of why I need this new job, why I need more money, all the things I said I would experience if I didn't get that thing, I'm already experiencing that thing. So what I need to do is just figure out how to master this. Because if I can already master this, I don't need to get the new job. The new job will just be a natural next step of me setting better boundaries, of me getting my finances in order and setting goals in order to get more money. For me to already do what I have to do. Maybe as I'm going to HR, I'm not going to be mistreated anymore. If you can focus on mastering your reality, which in your own words is your worst case scenario, then this just becomes a natural byproduct. You don't have to obsess over it. You don't have to see it as your savior. It's just what's going to happen when you already deal with what's going on there. I'm going to break this down a little bit more so it can be even more practical and you can apply that today to reach your goals. So let's say that your new goal is to move into a new place. You want to buy a home, or maybe you just want to switch apartments or live in a different area. That's your best case scenario, correct? If that is your best case scenario, that means where you are right now is worst case scenario, because you want the new place, you want to live in a new area, you want to be living a completely different experience, but you don't have that yet, which means where you are right now is the worst it is the worst it will be, it can be for you. So let's break that down a little bit more. A lot of times when we think of ourselves in relation to our goals, we only think about the bad that is included in where we currently are. If you only think about the bad, if everything seems even more catastrophic, it's harder to actually move towards the life you want to live. Let me show you so you understand. Okay, so if your best case scenario is a new place, and we're going to say that your worst case scenario is where you currently are, let's break down on how we actually get from one to the other very quickly, and again, just with a perspective shift. So when you think about your goal, there's usually some emotions behind it. So maybe moving to a new place may make you feel safe. You may feel like you have privacy, and it may make you feel accomplished. That makes sense. Okay. Worst case scenario, where you currently are. If you can get yourself to understand, this is where I currently am. I don't have the best case scenario, but in my current reality, do I ever feel safe? Ever. Whether it is when you go on a walk, if you are by yourself, if you are showering, can you ever cultivate a sense of safety where you are? Okay, yeah. Did you ever feel accomplished where you currently are? Maybe you had to go through a lot of work to find the place that you currently are in. Maybe this is your first time living on your own, or maybe you had already moved to a new city. So where your current place is right now at some point in your life in the past was the goal. So at some point in this current place, have you ever felt accomplished? If you can look at these feelings that you think your best case scenario will give you and find any examples or evidence of them in your current place, let me tell you how powerful of a practice that is. So if in my current place, I don't have my goals. None of those things are happening right now. I don't have a new place. I don't know how I'm going to get a new place yet. I feel like I'm not experiencing safety and privacy and all those things because I don't have the new place yet. If you can work and be like, actually, I do feel safe here. Actually, it is kind of an accomplishment that I even got to this place at all. If you can start to cultivate those feelings already, what it's going to do is build up your own self-confidence. It is going to remind you that this goal is now existing because I've already accomplished this one. This down here that I'm now seeing as my worst case scenario was at one point best case scenario. That's how I got here. I put in the work to get to here, and now as humans we just grow and expand. Now my viewpoint, my perspective has already shifted to I see something even better now. But that doesn't mean because I see something better now that where I am right now is this hell. This is not life or death. My worst case scenario, I still like my area. I still like going on walks. I still am pretty proud of myself that I ended up here. Once you can start to realize this, it takes so much pressure off this goal. If you are hyper fixated on this new goal because you're like, I needed to feel safe, first of all, you're probably being a little bit dramatic. And I'm a dramatic girl, I understand, I'm not judging you. But if you're being this dramatic about this new place, you are putting it on a pedestal. You are thinking it is the only thing that can get you to safety, that can get you to privacy, to being accomplished. But you already experienced all of those right there where you currently are. It changes this from you feeling like you have to escape to this just being the next step. And you are going to get this new goal, because this is what always happens. You are going to move into that new place. You are going to get the new money. You are going to get the new relationship. And what is going to happen? Once you are inside it, you're going to be like, actually, I can do better than this. And because we are dramatic creatures, what you are going to do then, this is going to feel like worst case scenario to you. All of a sudden, this thing that right now in this current stance, you are like, I need to get there, my life depends on me getting there. You're going to get there and all of a sudden be like, I can't do this. I deserve better than this. And that's fine, but what you need to do is be realistic about the fact that that's what you're doing and get really comfortable with what you call right now your worst case scenario. If your worst case scenario, you can still find joy, you can still find love, you can still find curiosity, creativity, XYZ, what's going to happen is these just become the natural next step. You need to start looking at your goals as the natural next step. This catastrophic, I need to get it, is just not true. If we can uncenter, in my last video I talked a lot about not centering suffering, and what happens is because we have been conditioned to always see things as really life or death, we always are seeing our reality in terms of fight or flight. I need to get out of here, I need to survive this. When where you are right now was probably best case scenario for you at some point. At some point, you put in work to get to where you currently are. So being really cognizant of the fact that what you are now framing, your present reality, as worst case scenario, was once the best. So now, your goals, what you are considering best case scenario, you've done that before. You've already done this jump from I can't handle this existence, let me move to the next. So you just need to do it again. It's not this thing that you've never gotten before. You said you want to get to the new place because you want to feel accomplished. You want to get a new job because you felt accomplished. Have you never felt accomplished before in your life? At some point, it could have been you were the line leader when you were in kindergarten. You felt a sense of accomplishment. So that means that this thing that you're obsessing over is not the only way. There is not just one way to feel what you want to feel. And the more you can find it in your present reality, again, this jump looks a lot easier. One of the reasons I credit for being very calm in situations is I started my career as an event planner, a Hollywood event planner. And if you know anything about event planning, you're planning, but really what you're doing is preparing for things to go wrong. You are putting in all these steps to make sure if this doesn't work, what has happened? We're planning for this, but if that doesn't happen, what is that? You're always thinking of contingency plans. So a big part of being an event planner is preparing for worst case scenario. What if we run out of food? Do we have backups? What if someone comes and they are in a wheelchair? Do we have rent? You're always thinking of what can go wrong so that you feel comfortable enough to handle it. If you feel comfortable enough to handle what could go wrong, you're not afraid of things going wrong. This is how you have to approach your life as well. So if you have a goal of making 10K, if you can think, okay, right now I don't have 10K. I want the 10K because I feel like it would pay off my bills, it would get me right, it would give me a safety cushion, XYZ. That's great. Love this goal. It's not there though. So since you don't already have the 10K, we're already worst case scenario. You're already don't have the safety net. You already don't have enough to pay all your bills the way you would like to. There's all the things that you think the 10K would solve. Until you get that 10K, you're living in it. You are living in worst case scenario. So the same thing I said about event planning, if you can master this, if I can come to the realization of like, dang, things could go wrong right now, but do I feel like I can handle it? Do I feel like if I can't pay that bill, if I think of if I can't do this, if I can think of all the things that I'm currently dealing with because I don't have that $10,000, I won't freak out about things going wrong. And so if I feel like I still have control over my finances, I still feel like I have my friendships, I still feel like there are contingencies for getting things done until this goal becomes a part of my reality, I'm not that obsessed with that goal anymore. Like, I don't have to put it on a pedestal because I trust myself that it'll be a natural effect of it'll be a natural result of the fact that I can already handle it. If I can already handle the worst thing that can happen, why wouldn't I get 10K? If I already can plan for everything going wrong at my event, why wouldn't it just be a good event? Because anything bad that can happen, I can handle it. This is how you take your goals off of a pedestal. So in order to do this, the journal prompt that I'm going to give you that you can do today to kind of see what is standing between you and your goals is think about what your big goal is. Again, it can be I want to make $100,000. It could be I want to move to a new city. I want to completely leave my industry and start a new job. It can be any goal. Think about right now what not having that goal is creating in your life. So you want to leave your industry. Okay, well, right now you're in an industry you don't really want to be in, but are you learning? Are you learning how to set boundaries? Are you trying out your skills to like try to get into this new industry? Are you doing more research? You may not have the money that you want, but right now, without the money, what is your current reality? And are you handling it? Are you doing a good job of like preparing and nurturing the present? This is what it means to stay present. So a lot of times when we hyperfixate on a goal, we're hyperfixating on the future. You can't really control the future like that. You can only control the right now. So instead of trying to escape your current reality, your worst case scenario, in order to get to this new goal, the only thing you actually have control over is this present moment. All you can do is make the most of it and see like, okay, I don't have that $100,000 goal. But even without the $100,000 goal, if this is my worst case scenario, it's actually not that bad. Like my bills are paid, I have a roof over my head, I have food in the refrigerator. When you can start to normalize your present instead of like making it so catastrophic, even though it is worst case scenario, I'm still okay. Like I still feel loved, I still have friendships, I don't have what I think that goal is going to bring me, but I feel like I can handle what's in front of me. I feel like life is still all right. If this is worst case scenario, then it's really not that bad. I'm actually okay. What that does is that regulates your nervous system. When you are focused on this new thing is going to get me to safety, that tells your nervous system, okay, right now we're not safe then. Right now something is not right. Right now this isn't good. We need to do, and that is not true. That's why you have to take your goals off of a pedestal. That goal is not the path to your safety. You're already safe. And that's internal safety. That's somatic safety. That's telling yourself, in this very moment, this is not life or death. Again, going back to my therapy sessions, whenever we work with like an anxious part, whether it's around money or things like that, and we ask that part, what do you think will happen if you don't get that goal? What do you think will happen if you don't do that job? The part sometimes will be like, I feel like that'll be the end. I feel like I will die if I don't get that. If you can start to coach yourself into being like, but it actually is not that deep. It's actually not that serious. Right now is okay. We already don't have that thing and we're not dying. We're like, everything is going to be okay. You take what is your worst case scenario and realign it to just being your baseline. Of course you want new things. Of course you have goals for the future, but like we're just not there yet and that's really okay. It doesn't have to be this thing that you worship, that you put on a pedestal. And that's what it means to detach. That's why when people say like it'll happen when you least expect it, it's because you're not obsessing over it. Imagine you have a garden and every little bud in the garden is blooming for your good, but there's one bud all the way in the corner. There's like thousands of buds, but there's one and you're obsessed over it. You are like, I need that one. I need that one thing. When you are over obsessed on one thing, you miss all the rest. So that is why we want to take it off the pedestal and just be like, okay, there's a lot going on in my life right now. Some is bad, but a lot is good. If I can just keep level in the fact that like there's 1,000 buds happening, I can't control how they're going to grow, but I can just like tend in the meantime and trust myself that if I keep tending, I will hit my goals because I've hit my goals before. The reason there's anything to tend is because I've done this before. That is how you change your perspective on your relationship to your goals, and it makes your goals come so much faster. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this was a perspective change that you needed to just take your goals off the pedestal and realize they're a natural next step. If I can focus on my present, if I can keep tending, if I can keep reminding myself that I am currently living in my achieved goals. What I'm dealing with right now was once best case scenario and now I'm here. Everything feels a lot more easy to attain. I hope this was helpful. Comment if it was and if you want more videos like this.